Hello, I'm Nancy, one of the librarians here at Belmont, and this is a short video for anyone who's interested in doing some family history research at home using HeritageQuest. So to get started, you'll go to our website, which is belmontpubliclibrary.net, and I'm just going to scroll down here to the link for Subject Guide, which is the area that we have all of our online resources organized by the topic area. So you can actually go here and find movies and ebooks and so on. But for this video, we're going to go into genealogy, and I'm going to click on the link for HeritageQuest, which is one of the family history resources that you can use from home. And today it didn't prompt me for my Belmont Library card, but normally it would prompt you for that. So once you enter your card number, then it will bring you here to HeritageQuest Online. For this video, we're going to focus on two of the resources here. One is the U.S. Federal Census Records, and the other will be the city directories. And those are the two resources that I think the most people will get the most use out of. So the first tip here is to start with the 1940 census, and that's the one that is most recent, and the most recent one that's available to the public. And the reason you'll start here is just simply that that's the year that you will most likely know someone from personally or have the most information about, and that will help you know that you're working with the right family and the right set of records. So I'm going to click on 1940 here, and it will open up the search form for this particular census. Generally on this form you don't need to, and you won't really want to fill out too many fields on the form. Typically a name, a date, and a location work pretty well, because by default HeritageQuest is going to cast a very wide net and bring you back to the top of your results the most exact fits, the near misses, and then at the bottom the not so near misses. And this is generally what you want to have happen. So for this demonstration, I'm going to pretend that I'm looking for my grandfather, who will be named Robert Fowler. So I'm going to type in his information. Robert Fowler, born around 1900, and I think it was either Malden or Medford, but I'm gonna just leave that a little bit broader and say Middlesex County, Massachusetts. And I'm going to kick off the search. So because for this demonstration Robert Fowler is my grandfather, I actually know my grandmother's name, and it was Minnie. So I can see that the correct record is right here at the top. You'll notice if I hover over View Record, it actually gives me a little bit of a form here that will help me to get a preview of who's on this record. So that kind of helps you keep from having to click into each and every record that you may see and see if it's your family. But so I do have the correct Robert Fowler here at the top. If for some reason I didn't, there are probably two cases that it might be. One is that I might have too many good-looking Robert Fowlers, and in that case I might want to go back here and edit the search and add another specific piece of information to see if I can bring my Robert right to the top. Another possibility is if I didn't see any good-looking Robert Fowlers, and then what I might want to do is just pivot to another family member, perhaps Minnie or one of the children. And the reason for that is simply that if Robert Fowler perhaps were a more complicated name, someone may have transcribed it incorrectly, or the original census taker may have taken down the name not quite correctly. And so even though HeritageQuest is going to do its best to cast that wide net and bring you back all your near misses, it still might be very hard to find your particular ancestor. So you might have better luck with someone else in the family whose name perhaps happened to be spelled or transcribed more correctly. But in any case, since this record at the top looks good, we're going to go in and view the real record. And what we see here at the start, I'm going to get rid of that error message, is a transcription of some but not all of the information that's on the original census record. So this is helpful because it's nice and easy to read, and it will show me who I'm working with, the age, estimated birth year, relationship to the head of the household, a little bit of information about the address, occupation, whether they owned their house, a bit about education, And a feature I really like down here at the bottom, these names are actually links, and these help me pivot among the different family members, so I can see this nice transcript summarized for each individual on the form. And scrolling back up, I'll point out a couple features here to the right. One is Send Document, and that will let me, if I click on it, which I won't do right now, it will just let me enter an email address and hit send, and it will send this form off as a link to my email. So that's really helpful. And another feature is I can view the printer-friendly version, and I will click on that. And here you'll notice that there's no print button showing, and so what you have to do is hold down the Control button and type P, and that will open up the print options. And if you were working on a Mac, it would be Command P. So I'll go back to the census record now, or to the transcript. So as I said, this transcript is some but not all of the information on the census record, so you do want to view the original, and I'll click on View here. And one of the first things you'll notice is, wow, this is really tiny and it's a bit hard to read. So HeritageQuest actually tries to help you out with that. They've got the Fowler family here that we're working with highlighted. Robert is in yellow, and the rest of he's kind of in this greenish color. And if I hover the mouse over the information, it actually shows me which column I'm working with, which is name, and the value, Robert Fowler. And as I scroll to the right, it does that for every field on the form, which is really nice. And so you will want to spend a little time in here clicking through to see that little bit more information that wasn't on the transcription as well. So off to the right here also, we have a slider that moves between plus and minus, and that will make this screen look bigger or smaller. And also these tools here, which look kind of like a hammer and a wrench, if you click on that, you get the option to print and also to download and save this document. So that can also be very helpful in terms of keeping yourself organized, excuse me, and making sure you don't repeat and kind of cover the same ground. Another point about the census, going back to the transcript here, is just that another point is that you'll want to look at every census year that you can find, because in 1930, the Great Depression was rolling, and they asked different questions than they asked in 1940, and same for 1920, 1910, and so on. In fact, going back to the original censuses, they were more just like almost like a hashtag of counted people. So as you go further in time, you get more information, and you will want to look at each record. All right, so I think that was what we wanted to let you know about the census records. And so now we're going to go to the home screen here, and we will go ahead and look at city directories. And city directories are really helpful because in particular, they help kind of fill in those gaps in between the census. The census was taken every 10 years, and your family may have moved quite a bit in between years. It shows you who was living with whom, at least in terms of spouses. So let me put in Robert again. And I will just use Middlesex as my location. And I'll kick off the search. So this is actually that case where we have too many good-looking Robert Fowlers in Newton and Lowell and Cambridge, and these are all Middlesex. And I don't see my Minnie here on the side that I know he was married to. So this is a case where I will go back and edit the form. And since I know spouse is one of the types of information on this particular record, I'm going to add Minnie and redo the search. And what that did for us is it actually brought up better closest matches. And so I can see there's actually a residence year 1938 and another for 1927. And just like with the census records, if I mouse over, I can get a little bit of a preview so that I don't have to click into each and every record to see which one I like. But in this case, I know that these top two look good. So I'm going to click on the top one and view this record. And here in the transcript, you actually generally do have all of the information that's in the original. The only reason you might want to go look at the original is just if you thought something here didn't look right or you wanted to see it for yourself. But generally speaking, this is going to be good. You also have the send document option to send it to your email as a link, and the same printer-friendly version, which works the same as in census records. So why city directory information is important, mainly because it fills in the gaps in between those 10-year censuses, but also sometimes it gives you, a bit more information. Sometimes people changed occupation in intervening years. They may have changed addresses, and certainly in this day and age, you could actually go and look on Google Maps, and you might have a good chance of actually seeing the house that they lived in. So that's kind of interesting. And you may pick up just little bits of pieces of information that may help you searching in other areas with other types of records. So these are good. And also one other note is the 1890 census happened to be destroyed in a fire. So around that time, these city directors are actually all you have to work with. So they're good to know about. So that is what we wanted to show you for this video, and we do thank you for watching. And please send any questions or comments that you may have about this video or using HeritageQuest to belmontpubliclibrary@gmail.com. Thanks again.